Hello there, my very good friends. Andy Murray here, Michael Hamflet here. We are outside the Prince Arthur here in Shoreditch. Is that the area we're in? We're in London. It's all in, not even weekend at this stage. It's day of the show, and this is the news. We're going to talk about a couple of things relevant to the show. I'm going to be honest with you, there's not a lot of stories out there, so we've actually picked 5 questions from Twitter today as well. So if you sent one in, you might be on the video. Good chance. We're going to start this one off by talking about Chris Jericho invading RevPro last night in a thing that you telegraphed a few hours before it actually happened. It's quite interesting because I think he was playing a Fozzy concert elsewhere in the city tonight. He jetted over to RevPro where Will Ospreay was wrestling Shingo Takagi in the main event. Ospreay won that match. It was a busy night for him, actually. He won that match. He was accosted by Zack Sabre Jr., who went, "Oi, oi, Billy, I want a shot at your title." And then that happened. And then a guy dressed as Bushi showed up, and would you know it, he did a Judas effect or a code breaker or something. It was Chris Jericho. Pretty cool moment seeing Chris Jericho show up in like indies always. It's a big show for RevPro. I think they had over 4,000 people there at the Copper Box, so it's really cool seeing something like that happen. And it was obviously to build a little bit of hype for tonight's match with Billy Ostrich at All In. Just a little bit of last minute heat. You've probably maybe seen the photos. They've been all over the place. The clips have been circulated. He has prior. He's done it. He did this at the original All In. Of course, he dressed up as Penta in a very convincing disguise. He was at PWG not so long ago as well. Because he loves doing stuff like this. Michael Hamflet, as the man who scripted this and manifested it, how do you feel about it?
It's very Chris Jericho, not just to do this, as you say. He's done it time and time again. But to make himself one of the big headlines coming out of one of the biggest BritRes shows in years. Like, that's not to sort of say that Chris Jericho's done this for his own ego, but I think he will have enjoyed...
He would never do that.
No, but I think like the Penta story All In 2018, I think he quite likes the drama and the excitement of jetting across the city and, well, he can't possibly be there. Yeah. Like, the fans, to be fair, went nuts for it. If you go back, like, all 4,000 of them are just essing out of their Ds. They're so excited to see Chris Jericho, unexpected and unadvertised, and the majority of them, if not all of them, will be at Wembley today as well. So they're getting the last go-home angle. Look, it wasn't on Collision, was it? They were there in person for the last big heat segment for that massive match. So all in all, quite like a nice bit of business, I think.
Essing out of their Ds. You heard it here first, folks. World exclusive. But yeah, cool stuff across the board. And speaking of cool stuff, we're just going to run through a bunch of people who are not on the show but are in town, which means we can have some fun speculating as to whether or not they're going to show up and do something fun. Surprise appearances, all of that stuff. So Sammy Guevara's been doing the rounds. He's been posting selfies and making vlogs and stuff. He's kicking about. He's obviously not booked to wrestle on this card, but who knows, maybe he'll have something to do with Jericho and Ospreay in particular. Fightful came through with a big report of other people just compiling folk. Jeff Jarrett, obviously him and Karen were at the Box Park thing. What was it, like a Q&A, talking like type thing? Yeah, Satnam Singh's here, Jay Lethal's here, Paul White's here, Anthony Agogo's here. You've probably seen a bunch of them doing the media rounds. Also, Miro and Will Hobbs, Powerhouse Hobbs, are here as well. I've got a few exclusives I want to kind of report on here as well. People who are in town. Captain Insano, apparently, he's somewhere kicking about. Somebody is smoking the Lucifer's legumes in our vicinity here. That's pungent. The King, the Shoot King, not the fake King, the Shoot King, he's in town. And Big Ben. Big Ben's here as well. So who knows? We might see one of these people show up on the card. We might not. It's a slow news day. Hamflet, what do you think?
What about Big Ben doing a run in at Wembley Stadium? I hope King Charles is in the Royal Box at Wembley because I want Christian Cage to make it.
him than Prince Andrew, to be fair.
Well, yeah, that's in any social event. I'd love Christian Cage to make a joke about if King Charles has got any deceased relatives, because that's his shtick. And Ogo knocks him clean out. Anthony Ogogo worked Progress as well. Last night he appeared as a guest referee, unveiled by our very own Simon Miller, no less. Got an enormous response to the Progress show. So yeah, it's nice, especially like the Miro and Hobbs stuff, even if they're only there to do a quick, I keep saying, smile and wave. It's an 80,000 people smile and wave. There are worse places to be sort of just on display to do the basics. That'll be the Royal one, yeah.
Batista style.
I'm excited. Yeah. I want to see some nonsense in between all these matches.
Some total nonsense.
Yeah.
I'm in for it. And we're now going to swing over to our questions of the day that this man has compiled. We're doing it. It's a little ramshackle today. Just, bear with us. We're in a street. We've got to eat. I don't know. Here, do the thing.
Yes, thank you for sending your Twitter questions.
I'm very tired.
Thank you for sending your Twitter questions. Picked out a select few. Obviously, a lot of them are very all-in flavour. They couldn't not be. But we'll start with AEW. And a conversation that's been rife this week, I think. It's from Chucky Van Hoos, at Chucky Van Hoos. With Proud and Powerful back in AEW, should they win the tag team titles?
So, this is a complicated situation because we don't actually know if they're back on the same page yet, right? We all know the reports. We've covered them pretty extensively on the news over the past few days as well, with Santana returning recently. We've gone over every historic thing that's happened to pull these gentlemen apart. If they're back and they've mended fences with whatever their personal problems were, whatever pulled them apart, that would be great. I think they deserve it. I think they're one of the best. The best. Obviously, you do the gimmick. They're like, I like Santana and Ortiz a lot. I think they're extremely cool and fun to watch. We saw both of them walking around yesterday, which was cool. Ortiz literally the coolest man alive with his hat and stuff. I was like, I'm not going to bother that man, but I want to bother him because he looks really cool. Yeah, large gentleman. So yeah, I mean, to me, simple answer. If they want to be a team again, yes. If they want to go and do their own thing, that's cool as well. Whatever they like best.
That's very nice, very nice. I hope it works out for them too. We've got another one. 216 from 716 at SRWise Boys says, good day from the world of X. He's asking, question, who is your next opponent for MJF when he wins it all in? So coming in with a big prediction there. Punk is obvious because of the 2 title thing. Then Adam Cole joins back with the Elite and back from the dead and takes on the Kingdom and Strong. So yeah, he's thinking Adam Cole's going off in a completely new direction tonight. But who do you think is MJF's next title opponent, if he even wins?
I think it's going to be one of 2 people. I think they're either going to do the CM Punk thing straight up. Personally, I would leave that a bit. I would let that marinate for a few months. I would let it. The idea that MJF is like no selling CM Punk, I would keep that going for a while, and it's like eventually MJF has to acknowledge him at some point because he's just really annoying with his belt with the X on it and stuff. Yeah. I think it's Tony Khan. He'll probably do it a bit sooner than I would personally like. Eddie Kingston. We do this every year. Fantasy book the Grand Slam thing, right? Fighting for the world title, all of that stuff. But that would be absolutely magic. And somebody in our group, I think, was it you that said this last night? Like, it's believable that those gentlemen would totally hate each other as well if they were to work a storyline, and it would be kind of perfect. So that would be my 2 picks. Heart says Eddie, head says Punk.
Well, on that then, we'll have one more all-in-one, and then we'll circle back towards the end. This is from Christopher York at Chris York 19. Thank you for your question. Before a bell rings at Wembley, what do you think will main event All Out in Chicago?
Ooh. CM Punk versus MJF. I mean, build it on 1 week. Why the heck not? I mean, that it's kind of tough to predict, isn't it? And that's quite mental because we're 1 week away from this thing, and yet we've got this 80,000 seater thing that's theoretically the biggest thing ever. That's going to build to a slightly smaller thing, and I don't really have a particularly strong read on it, to be honest. If I was betting, I would say CM Punk versus MJF. You know, it's way too quick for me personally. But I don't have a better... Have you got a better choice than that?
I do wonder, because they've done such a good job with Starks, if they try and get to Punk and Starks. Like, it's big, it's in Chicago, it's a Punk main event, and it potentially elevates Starks. Is this suspension up? Or does it end this week?
I think it...
Oh, if it's still suspended then, Punk and Big Bill.
Boom.
We've done it. We've completed it.
You've sold all the tickets.
Speaking of Big Bill...
Big Bill and Big Ben, back together at last. The big boys. Flower pot man.
Thanks, Ross Bramble, for your question. At Ross Bramble. It's a bit you this, Murray. A little bit away from Wembley. We'll come back for one more. Do you think there's a place in wrestling for not sure about that, Ross, F-tier shows like late 2000s TNA or late 90s WCW, or is wrestling better off without them? Personally, I miss the So Bad It's Good chaos they brought to the wrestling discourse. F-tier.
Question. Good morning, lads. Do you like rubbish? Yeah, there is. Yeah. There is. Like, I said this the other day. I sometimes guest on a couple of my friends do an Aberdeen football podcast. Hello, Football Monitoring Board. And recently we did a season review. They got me on for that, the worst part of the season, where it was a complete calamity. It was funny disaster from 1 week to another. It was an absolute shower of DS. After coming off of that podcast recording, because we just laughed at it, obviously you can't be miserable about it, you just gotta laugh. I thought, man, I really wish some of the wrestling I could talk about was as calamitous as this. Not from a burial standpoint. I don't like burying things. I don't enjoy the process of it. I don't like the weird people that come at me on Twitter when I do it either. But laughing at bad stuff is really fun, and I wish there was more of that. I would quite like a New Blood Rising caliber pay-per-view to happen sometime soon. WWE very competent, AEW very competent at the moment. There's no really just garbage ass promotions out there, and I kind of wish there was one, to be honest.
Leap last Wednesday's Dynamite if you need something. Last question. Last but not least. Speculation's been like mounting all week. It's pretty much what everybody's talking about. Aaron Whitelaw at Le Quabois has given us our last question. And like Aaron's coming with the obvious ones, but I'm welcoming anything you want on the table here. What unannounced surprise are you hoping for All In? And then the examples Aaron gives are the obvious ones. Obviously, the second Big Bill, Big Goldberg, addicted to pain, Edge himself, and Don. So, like, ignoring the obvious ones, who do you think? Because it does feel like there's something in the air here, doesn't it?
There is. I mean, my first answer is legitimately Goldberg. I think people are think I'm joking when I say that. No, that would be fun. That'd be so much fun. You imagine Goldberg showing up in Wembley for a company that's not WWE or WCW. It'd be hard for him to appear for WCW in 2023, I guess. But beyond that, it would be nice to see Jamie Hayter get out in front of the crowd and do something. Like, I don't know what. Just maybe even just come out. I don't know what her injury state is. I don't know where her recovery is, but if she could just come out and like go, yeah, England. Yeah, something like that. Or just second Britt Baker for the title match or something like that. Same with Pac. It would be nice to see him. That poor bugger he seems to come back and get injured. There's all kinds of fun ones. I mean, you've gone through the biggest ones here. Edge, obviously. There's nobody I don't think I would pop more for than Edge, because it would be so what the hell. It's Goldberg. I'm sorry, you took my answer, man. It's Goldberg. So you are. Are we done? We are done. Check out this video here. Check out the Prince Arthur if you're here in Shoreditch, and come down here and smell some interesting smells. Not the pub. The pub's good. Bye.